Hello! We have one longer story of a Karen freakout that ends with hospitals and handcuffs. But that's not exactly the most family-friendly, so... Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, a young boy mounts his bicycle, steed, and sets out on a perilous quest to the supermarket to acquire a fabled can of cream of mushroom soup. But his quest comes to an untimely end when he encounters a chilly-armed troll named Karen and forgets to roll for initiative. In Story 1. This is an old story, and for reasons that will become clear, I'm not absolutely sure of every single fact. In the summer of my 14th year, my mom sent me to the supermarket about 2 miles away. I was to specifically buy some cream of mushroom soup for a recipe she was planning to cook for dinner. I should say that at 14, I was skinny but tall for my age, and it wasn't unusual for people just meeting me to think I was a couple of years older. Anyway, I biked to the store. Mom had specifically wanted a 4-pack of the soup. I didn't bother with the shopping cart since I was only there for one thing. The supermarket had about a dozen shelves of different brands of soup. The brand my mom wanted was in white and red cans, and they all looked alike. The varieties weren't alphabetized, and for some time I took cans down to look at them. I found single cans of the mushroom soup, but Mom had told me to get a 4-pack. While I was seeking one of those at chest level, a middle-aged woman bumped me, not hard, with her shopping cart. I stepped closer to the shelves to let her pass, but of course, she didn't want to pass. "Hey you," she said in a grouchy voice. "Stop stalking for a minute. I want some bouillon cubes and the place on the shelf's empty. Go in the back and bring some out." "I don't work here," I said, turning back toward the shelves and finally spotting 4 packs of tomato soup and cream of mushroom soup on the very bottom shelf. I bent down to get the soup. And then my head seemed to explode and I passed out. I don't really remember much except seeing an eruption of yellow light and then everything went dark. Literally, the next thing I remember is a hefty guy in a white paper cap and a butcher's apron kneeling beside where I sprawled on the floor. He was pushing something against my head and saying, "Easy, easy, don't move." The woman loomed over him screaming, "Fire him! He attacked me! I'll sue!" Then my head was pounding and I saw what looked like a huge pool of blood all around my face. I tried to ask what happened but kept zoning in and out. Then I was being rolled on a gurney and 2 EMTs in green scrubs were loading me in an ambulance. One of them drove, the other one rode in back with me and asked me how many fingers she was holding up and shined a flashlight in my eyes. Then she said, "Could you hold this against the wound? Press it tight." It was a gauze pad and it already felt soaked. My whole head ached. The ride to the hospital didn't seem to take more than 30 seconds, but as I say, my memory is wonky. Somewhere along the way, the EMT asked for my name, address, and phone number and asked if I had any ID. I had my high school ID card in my wallet, which was in my jeans pocket. By the time they rolled me into the ER, my mom met us yelling, "What happened?" I did not know, but the EMT said, "A woman in the supermarket threw a heavy can of chili at him and hit him on the side of the head." "Why did she do that?" I told her I didn't know. We were in a curtained-off area of the ER and a young doctor came in, looked at me, took some pictures, and told me I needed stitches. He poured something into the wound that sizzled and stung like crazy. He gave me a couple of injections to anesthetize the area. A nurse shaved off some hair over my right ear, and then I could sort of feel the doctor putting in the 9 stitches it took to close the wound. Not painful, just weird tugs. He explained that scalp wounds bleed a lot, gave my mom a prescription for a painkiller, and gave her a photocopy of a printout with concussion and wound care instructions on it. They told me to rest and drink plenty of fluids and to stay awake until bedtime. But Mom and I couldn't return home right away. As we processed out of the hospital, a policeman met us and told Mom to follow his car back to the supermarket. He took us to an office in back where the woman was still complaining loudly that I had attacked her. By then, maybe 2 hours had passed and she was still screeching. The policeman asked us what happened. All I could say was, "This lady wanted me to get out of her way, and I did, but she hit me." "Liar!" the woman yelled, her face beet red. "I told him to get me a jar of bouillon cubes from the back of the store, and he cursed at me and slapped me." Oh my gosh. The guy in the butcher's apron, Mr. Butcher, was there too and said, "Officer, That's not true. I saw everything. She spoke to him, he leaned down to get something from a shelf, and she picked up a jumbo can of chili and threw it, hard, laying open his scalp. He didn't touch her. I didn't hurt him, the woman bellowed. I was just trying to get his attention. Fire him. Mr. Butcher said, Lady, he's just a kid. He doesn't even work here. And he didn't slap you, and you hurt him plenty. The policeman had me turn sideways to the woman. Look at the shoulder and side of his shirt, he said. It was actually a yellow school jersey with black trim, but I had a huge blotch of drying blood on that side. Plus, my head was bandaged, so you'd think I was wearing a topless turban. Then the policeman asked me if I wanted to press charges. I didn't know what to say, but my mom cut in and said, You're bloody right we do. I'd never heard her curse before, but she was mad. To top it all off, someone had stolen my bike from the parking lot, and Mom was so upset she even forgot to buy the soup. By the time we started for home, everything had sunk in, and I was having a horrible headache and was shaking and trying not to cry. I asked my mom, why would she do that? From what I was wearing, she had to know I didn't work for the store. My mom, with a death grip on the steering wheel, said between her teeth, I'll tell you why a woman like her would do that. It's because she's... Well, I won't repeat it here, but Mom proved that she knew a lot more curse words than I'd ever supposed. The woman did get arrested and charged with assault, but by the time she came up for trial, it was fall and school had started. I didn't have to testify, though they did show photos of my blood on the floor of the supermarket and my head wound. I think the doctor took them. Both Mr. Butcher and my mom were at the trial and testified, though. Later, she said the charge was aggravated assault and battery. However, the jury convicted the woman for simple assault. She got 6 months in jail, suspended, a fine, and had to pay my family back for my medical expenses. I was disappointed that she didn't also have to buy me a new bike. Though I didn't have a serious concussion, it does bother me that my memory of the whole thing is so spotty. However, if I want to remind myself of this occasion, I just have to run my fingers along the right side of my head about 2 inches above my ear, and I can still feel the scar. In the comments, Mama Gon said, Your mom showed a lot of restraint. I have kids, and if someone did that to one of my kids, I'm confident I'd be arrested. Caffeine Fueled Life replied, Same, and the woman would be taking an ambulance ride next. Cyber Entomology said, I'm sorry, she threw a whole can of chili at you? How exactly did she think that story was going to end? And who the doodle taught her that's the best way to get someone to do something for you? I have so many questions. Is this the first time this crazy Karen has done something like this, or was there a slow escalation of some sort? I mean, she's obviously gone off the deep end. And I like how OP noted that he looks a couple of years older than 14 due to his height. Because assaulting someone with a can of chili is totally okay if the victim is an adult, right? Wrong. This woman got off way too easy in my opinion. Suspended jail time? Pfft. She deserved a karma boomerang. Doing her jail time would have been a start. I'm still unclear how she managed to get off. I think it's only a matter of time before we hear of this despicable villain again. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.